So Mark Levin is a conservative commentator who I've watched on and off for years. Recently, he said something about economic anxiety and his belief that it doesn't exist. So I'll play the clip and then we'll talk about it.
History isn't taught. Propaganda and indoctrination are taught. BS is taught. Over the weekend, the Wall Street Journal, writes Jim Garrity, offered a deeply reported analysis of the young socialists who are fueling the Democrat Party's lurch to the left in the past years, tracing it back to economic anxieties of the Great Recession. You know what amazes me? Like, this is the only generation that's had economic anxiety. Oh, woe is me. You pick your ass up and you go do something about it. You don't attack the whole country. You don't attack everybody else. You don't blame capitalism. Look in the mirror. No generation has been handed anything. None. Well, this one somewhat, but no other. Oh, woe is me, economic hardship. Economic hardship? This isn't the Great Depression. This is ridiculous. The excuses.
Now, as I said earlier, he's someone I've watched for a very long time, on and off, and I know his routine, right, of calling all the Democrats socialist and Marxist. So I was wondering, why am I so bothered by this particular statement of his? And what I came to understand is that in most of his other broadcasts I've seen, he normally, if he talks about the economy, it's usually, inflation or something else that has to do with, just like a general numbers, not, the actual conditions of working people. And to see him downplay it is pretty disgraceful. It should go without saying that 63% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Most Americans can't afford $1,000 emergency. About half of all Americans say they're concerned about grocery prices. I mean, anyone who dismisses or doubts the realities that a lot of people, a majority of people in the U.S. are facing economic anxiety is an idiot. But what I thought was interesting is that his solution to this, right, get off your blank and go do something about it, is also ignoring, the specifics that go into things being ridiculously unaffordable for regular people, right? So we talked about how if you were someone who just wanted to work a job, he makes it sound like you can just click your heels and then you'll suddenly be working somewhere. But instead we have what are called ghost jobs, these fake job listings that are all over the place. And then if you get hired somewhere, there is a good chance that you'll be hired part-time, which will make your hours from week to week, possibly, they don't always do this, but it's a possibility, fluctuate. And there's a guarantee that you won't have any benefits, which will be more money that you have to spend to buy other things. We've also talked about how, a lot of people, they go and rent out one of these apartments, $2,000 a month. Rising rent costs, right? Rising food costs. And this is all like just basic stuff to survive. So his solution might be get off your blank and do something about it. But what does doing something about it entail? Should people just all sleep in their cars if they can't afford the cost of rent? I mean, I don't know. It's a really blanket statement that just marginalizes everybody. But this is kind of what the issue I have with this, which is that a lot of conservatives really believe in, in the whole like pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing, and their way of addressing economic anxiety or just income inequality is to simply say that regular people are not working hard enough. Like you're doing something wrong, not the system that renders most people living under it poor, which is why it was funny. He was like, well, you don't attack capitalism. Well, maybe people are attacking capitalism because under your capitalist system, over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We'd like to believe that if the capitalist system was so successful and wasn't just a blanket for a bunch of men in suits to basically robber baron their employees to the point of becoming billionaires while everybody else stays down here, you'd have people in general being able to afford this stuff. If it was 10 or 20% that were poor, that'd be a much more manageable number in terms of this is working for a majority of people. But when the majority of people in your country, the richest country in the world, mind you, can't afford $1,000 emergency, there's clearly something wrong with it. No, the line about no generation has been handed anything was really funny when you consider that, like, he'll call us socialists for saying this, but when we talk about, wanting free college or free healthcare, again, these basic things that we're told that we need to survive, the understanding is that, similar to the fire department, we would work and then our taxes would be used to fund it, and then we would get it for free, right? It would be something that we still paid into, even if we don't have any, direct cost for it. But in stressing a desire to have higher wages, which again we would have to work for, right? Still work a job to get, in wanting to have free college, which we would still have to work to get the degree in going to the school. We're told that we want handouts, where there is still work required, and there is a clear desire by many of us to do things to make either larger amounts of money or have a more affordable standard of living. We're told that those are handouts. We expect to be handed something. And when he says this isn't the Great Depression, I mean, two things can be true at once. This era cannot be as awful to live in as, the 1930s or 1920s, but it can also still not be that good either. It's like you can say, oh yeah, the stock market crashing was horrible, but the fact that we're about to hit the largest number of job layoffs in 5 years is also really bad. I don't really know what else to say other than his whole position is focused on downplaying any systemic issues with regard to trying to maintain a standard lifestyle in the U.S. and blaming every single person for why their situation is that way. And it drives me crazy because I wish that I could click my heels and have a full-time job. I wish I could click my heels and not have to pay $2,000 a month just to sleep somewhere. But it's like when you have those situations, those factors working together, all they do is just sink you to the bottom. There's a reason the rich get richer and the poor stay down here. That's by design. And if you want even a little bit of assistance, even if you're someone who wants to, let's say, again, work 40 hours a week, but hey, I want my rent to be half the price or smaller than that. They would say that you want a handout. If you say, hey, I want to work full time, but I want to not have to pay out some crazy amount of, either premiums or co-pays or deductibles for healthcare, you want a handout. I mean, it never stops with these people. If you want any kind of assistance from the government of the richest country in the world, you want a handout, even if you're still working on top of it. It's utterly insane. But what's even funnier about this is that Levin is someone who believes in handouts. It was 3 weeks ago that Charlie Kirk was unfortunately murdered, and within the last couple of weeks, Levin on his own show put up and encouraged people to donate to the fundraiser for the Kirk family. Now, Kirk is someone who had, according to online sources, a net worth of $12 million, right? And I personally and a lot of other people don't see why we should have to or want to or be inclined to donate to someone who is more well off than the majority of people in the U.S. But the other issue at play here is, how can you tell us that if we want free healthcare, free college, right? Those are handouts, but then giving Erica and Charlie's kids money is just for existing, just for the unfortunate loss of Kirk, is not a handout. And the reason that this contradiction exists is simple. Levin was friends with Kirk. Kirk was someone that he knew. Kirk was someone that he was very much close with. And so when an unfortunate and tragic thing happens to Kirk, it's real to him. He can actually feel something for Kirk and his family. He can be empathetic to the possibility that, hey, they might need something in response to such an untimely incident. But if you're a regular American who, let's say, gets laid off their job through no fault of their own, or your hours cut in half or even more, or you can't afford to live where you are anymore because they keep raising the rent every year, then, oh well, too bad. So this segment is really funny. because it shows how Levin thinks of, like, just how he sees a majority of Americans. Like, he despises them. If they want any assistance whatsoever, even if they're willing to work for it, handout, don't give it to them. They expect to be handed something. And he's also full of crap because at the same time as he wants somebody to feel embarrassed or bad about wanting a little bit of assistance, he has no problem sharing around a GoFundMe or whatever other pay site they were using for people to donate to the late millionaire's family. No, this segment was really important because it shows you that the conservative response to income inequality is to for the most part ignore it, right? Just talk about job creation and tariffs and other, things unrelating to people's actual quality of living. And then the few times that you touch on it, just blame everybody for why their situation is that way. It's disgusting.